And of course, the man that was in the hot seat on Friday was this chap who's about to sit down, so you can't put him in camera because he's being really slow. Come on, Lembit.
I'm here.
Come on, I can waffle on for a little bit longer if you want, if you need a bit more time. Don't forget your balloon. Good morning to Lembit Öpik, who held the fort on Friday. Thank you very much. How did Friday go?
Much better than usual.
I thought you were going to say much better than you.
Well, I was going to say that. I just added an extra syllable because I realised that
because you
rude.
had second thoughts as it came out of your mouth. I zoomed in for 5 or 10 minutes, didn't I, on Friday? So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Just checking up on me.
Me guesting on what is technically my own show. That's very weird. Very weird. No, well done. You had Andrew Eborn on, so that was good fun. You're quite the double act, you two, actually.
It was great fun. Really enjoyed it. And thanks for letting me stand in. You were doing important political work.
I was at Essex County Council doing stuff, which I won't bore you with, but basically, saving Essex from the clutches of local government reorganisation at huge expense. So yes, that's exactly what I was doing. Right, let's talk about, there's some news about today, Lembit. Which has completely driven a cart and horses through our schedule because we had all sorts of wonderful things lined up, lots of alternative news, new news, stuff that perhaps was buried deep in the papers. I might actually give you a bit of a flavour of that, really, just because we're probably not going to talk about it for the rest of the show now. So let me just give you a flavour. This is what they used to say in the game shows of the 70s. This is what you could have had. Ready? This is what you could have had. So we were going to talk about weather warnings. We should talk about that very briefly because there is a weather warning. It's what we used to call summer. Do you remember in the 70s and 80s, we used to call hot weather summer.
It's a crisis.
Summer. But now, it's going to be hot. It's going to be bloody hot. It's going to be 38 degrees apparently. But this is exactly the sort of weather, Lembit, that we fly thousands of miles and at great expense as a population of this country to find. We go to southern Spain or we go to the Canary Islands or the Caribbean if you're particularly well-heeled. Why do we get so concerned about that weather now being here? Which means we just saved a load of money. We don't have to go away on holiday.
Because it's idiotic fakery. This is one reason Starmer's had to go. He's gone along with this.
I actually tweeted about it this morning, got 5-figure response already by now, because the mainstream media want to remind you that we're in a climate crisis. Because if they didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. That's the thing.
It's kind of control, isn't it? If it's not COVID or Ebola, it's climate change and the fact that, these summers that you relish by going away to Spain every year to find 38-degree heat, the fact that it happens here is apparently a bad thing. The royal family about to disclose their taxes. How do you feel about that? I don't think I care particularly what Prince William and King Charles
I work as hard as they do. And I don't mind paying their tax if I had their money.
Yeah. But do we need to know?
Well,
why do we need to know? Who cares?
I'm a vague royalist because I actually think it's good for the tourism.
Transparency, I suppose.
But it doesn't really matter, does it? You can resent being that they're as rich as that, but on the other hand, I wouldn't want their life.
But it's going to do that, though, isn't it? So all of those on the left, the Antifa lot and the Green Party are going to now start slating the royal family because, of course, look, King Charles owns the Duchy of Cornwall, so he owns land and farms and companies that produce everything from, I don't know what, milk to cookies to, whatever else. The Duchy is a brand. So he's going to have paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds worth of tax on an annual basis. All it's going to do is trigger the left to say we should get rid of the monarchy, this is terrible, it's back to the feudal times, we're all equal, maybe all of his money should be equally distributed across the rest of us. We're going to get all that nonsense.
Well, privately he'd say, it doesn't really matter how much I pay because I don't carry cash.
What's that, a Stephen Hawking impression?
I knew Stephen Hawking. He died of the same disease as my father did, so feel bad about that. Motor neuron disease.
That's not fair.
But okay, well, had to recover after you criticised my King Charles.
You can tell he's an ex-politician. He hits me with the lowest blow he possibly can in retaliation.
I could have gone lower. The thing is, King Charles can pay tax and he will pay millions, but he's not motivated by money. He's also a prisoner. And the worst thing is, he's related to Andrew. There's nothing you can do about that.
I heard a rumour the other night where I was chatting to someone that, let's just say, in a former life was a royal correspondent, that King Charles is much more ill than we think he is.
I hope he isn't. I like King Charles. When I was a Member of Parliament in Wales, he used to come up there quite a lot for various official events. And I have to say, he was very agreeable. He totally buys the Kool-Aid on the climate emergency, and that's a bad thing because
it does. He's Aston Martin. This is tragic, and actually, it's the Aston Martin kind of pedigree should be sacrosanct. but he's turned his Aston Martin engine into something that runs on, I think, potato peelings and old wine.
Poch, and you can drink that.
Yeah, I mean, absolute sacrilege.
I don't mind that too much because
He's a climate zealot. He's a Miliband of the royal family.
The issue is that he seems to have infected his useful son with the same idea. And so my bigger criticism of him is that he's going along with anti-scientific nonsense. But I am a royalist. I think that they do good for the country. And I don't mind him paying tax. I don't care about knowing the tax. It doesn't make me any richer.
We're going to move fast on this stuff just so that we've done it, just so I don't get shouted at by Elena. Talking of science, kids' gender clinics, a revelation in the newspapers today that children as young as 6 are on waiting lists for NHS gender clinics in England. There are 4,079 kids waiting to be seen at 3 specialist clinics which provide support for young people in distress, big inverted commas, about their gender identity. Can I just suggest that if you're a parent that thinks that your child should go to a gender clinic because they feel that as a boy they're a girl or a girl they're a boy, it's your parent, that your job as a parent to make sure that you see them through that phase. And I'm not saying that trans tendencies are not a thing. Clearly they are, and as far as I'm concerned, live and let live. But at 6 or 7 or 8 years old, I would suggest very strongly that if you're a parent that encourages the change of gender of your 6-year-old, that it is tantamount to child abuse.
When my 4-year-old went to the school just to matriculate, the teacher bent down and said, "So what's your name?" She said, "Insect." Should she have species realignment? That's what kids do. They talk this stuff. The worst thing is, this is part of the ideology that I hope now goes because Starmer's going. You had a 4-year-old excluded from school in the north of England for transphobia. They can't spell it for sure. I doubt they know what it is. And what really bothers me is 98.5% plus of the population knows who and what they are. And you do not need to infect people's intellect and children at a young age.
And I think in some cases you've got parents who I think have mental health issues themselves, extending those mental health issues through their kids in terms of the way they encourage them to be transgender. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the Hollywood dynamic, the amount of Hollywood stars that have kids that are trans, it is wildly disproportionate. And I would suggest that they think it's a kind of fashion thing. It's kind of cool and trendy to have your girl dress up as a boy or your son dress up as a girl. And as I say, I'm being very clear that, as far as I'm concerned, if you're an adult that's trans, good luck to you. Do what you like, as long as you don't impose it on me and your silly pronouns. But when it comes to children, I feel very, very strongly that kids are kids, and at 6 years old, they should not be dropped off at the Tavistock clinic to have gender realignment.
Here's a dark stat for you. 1 in 8 Labour MPs claims not to be straight. That doesn't represent the country, but it could be a clue to why we have this endless diet of propaganda. Sex is important, but it's not key to life itself. And I think a lot of these people are running away, and it's really dangerous. I actually think it's child abuse to get these kids to start taking puberty blockers because they saw something on TV that confused them.
Well, let's go back to Starmer, because that is the story of the day, story of the year, actually. The fact that we've had, our 6th Prime Minister resign in 7 or 8 years. Looks like Andy Burnham is lined up to take the crown. I think it will be a coronation. I don't think there'll be a contest. I think lots of deals have probably already been done over the weekend. So it will be a coronation, which may be, Lembit, maybe that's good for the country in terms of settling anxiety amongst the electorate, the public, and particularly the economy, the housing market, the stock market, do you think?
No, doesn't really make any difference because Burnham wants a few weeks, probably a couple of months to get things sorted out. He himself has implied he needs to be in position by the Labour conference, and that's right. That was obvious. I even predicted that on my own show before he resigned. So he needs a little bit of settling time. There's a lot of negotiation to be done there because there are still some residual loyalists for Keir Starmer who he needs to make sure aren't going to stab him in the back. Because now Labour's going to be bitter. The ones who lose their jobs, presumably including Rachel Reeves, the non-chancellor who's already missing in action, they'll be resentful of this. And also there's this dignity point, which I don't really care about because Starmer showed no respect for the country. But I would have said, Burnham would say, just finish the term, wait till you get to the summer recess and we'll sort out the rest after that. In terms of the election, they can have it or not have it. Everybody knows Burnham's going to win it because Burnham will look in the camera, look at the people and say, I proved I can beat Reform
Do you
UK.
think that the Labour Party hierarchy will seek to have an election for the leader because it looks good and somehow gives Burnham a semblance of mandate?
No.
Because don't forget, Burnham is not a man that was even a member of Parliament when this government took office. So he has not put his name to the manifesto under which they got elected, even though I would argue that most of that manifesto hasn't been carried out in real terms over the last 2 years anyway. But do you think that Burnham will be desperate for some kind of recognition that the Parliamentary Labour Party at least support him, if not even the country by way of a mandate? Do you think that's why they might have an election as a leadership election?
Yes, the first, no to the second. He will want to have that authority, but he already has, because 200 plus Labour MPs have said they're willing to sign his nomination form. That's pretty much over half the party. In terms of the second thing now, they don't want the mess of this. When I became leader of the Welsh Liberal Democrats, it was a totally bloodless handover at the time. I think it was the same, I can't remember what happened after I finished. They wrecked the party because, unlike Starmer, I made the party the most successful it was in Britain. Starmer's done the opposite for Labour, I think. But he doesn't need this election. It's a distraction. It's also quite costly. And inevitably, there'll be mudslinging. Burnham doesn't want that. As soon as you become a party leader, things begin to rust. You can't help it. And he doesn't want the rusts to start any earlier than it has to.
Keir Starmer, I think, is talking about a new leader being in place, I think, by the summer recess. We've got a couple of clips later, haven't we?
Yeah, can we play Starmer's resignation?
Yes, let's first of all play the joy, the celebration, with me with a big smile on my face. This is Keir Starmer resigning.
I'll play the Starmer alert, maybe my last chance.
The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess.
Okay, there's Keir Starmer then exerting a sigh of relief across the 70 million people that make up Great Britain. He's going, not quite gone yet. He's going to hang on until Andy Burnham or somebody, depending on what happens at the top of the Labour Party insofar as an election, until Burnham or somebody becomes the new leader of the Labour Party and therefore Prime Minister. Leader of the Reform UK Party, Nigel Farage, has tweeted to say, "Reform demands an election, and we are ready to deliver radical change. If Labour thinks it can shove another professional politician into number 10, it has another thing coming." Read my second essay to Britain, which I won't read out, but it's on X if you want to see that. So Nigel Farage being very, very clear that he says that we should have an election because of this change of Prime Minister. And funnily enough, Nigel Farage is not the only person, Lembit, that said this. Mike Tapp, who is a Labour MP, the MP for Dover, and also an immigration minister, very surprisingly last night on X said the same thing. So within his own party, knowing what's about to happen, that there would be a change of leader, he has said, as a Labour member, Labour MP, there should be a general election.
There's only one statistic that matters, and this statistic will absolutely determine 100% whether there's an election or not, and that's Labour's poll rating. If Labour's at 40% in the polls, there'll be an election. If they're at 20% in the polls, there won't be. And the one person who makes this decision is Andy Burnham, who will be the next Prime Minister. That's all that matters here. The exception to the rule was, of course, Rishi Sunak, who was probably told by the World Economic Forum to have the election because no sane politician would have done what he did.
But won't Andy Burnham be under the same kind of influence
Less so.
from the WEF?
I don't think he's so influenced. And also, obviously, the WEF wanted a change at the top of Britain. Conspiracy theory? Yes. But Burnham isn't going to do that. Couple of reasons. Number one, Burnham can actually be the Prime Minister just by surviving for longer than Keir Starmer. He's guaranteed 3 years. If he doesn't hold an election. The second thing is his local constituency branches will say, look, we're not ready. We can't have the risk. Okay, sure, you won this great result in Makerfield in the by-election over reform, but we don't think we can do that because we haven't got you as our candidate. And to that extent, Nigel Farage is playing it smart because probably lots of Labour seats will be won by reform. Exactly why Burnham won't go early.
25,000 people in Makerfield have effectively decided the direction of this country.
That's right.
That's what's happened. I mean, it really is a kind of glitch in our democratic process, isn't it?
Not necessarily. If you take the party politics out of it, Britain, I think, will be in much better shape with Andy Burnham. I'm not Labour, but he's just a more intelligent person.
Do you think he might have a little bit more polish? Maybe he might have a bit more integrity than Keir Starmer, but he will also seek to push the country via the Labour Party even further to the left, won't he?
I don't think so. I think that's a misunderstanding.
I hope you're right.
I was an MP with him, and I got to know him well. And actually, I've worked with him since then in lobbying and so forth. He isn't hard left. That's not his problem. If he's left to his own devices, he'll do a reasonably good job. And you can ask people who aren't Labour in Manchester what they think. They might say, well, I'm not Labour, but he's all right. The problem he's got is his own hard-line parties and the unions.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, we put you in there, Andy, you will now do what we say. And that's where the stress rises.
So one of the huge challenges he's going to have, I mean, apart from fighting against Ed Miliband and Ed Miliband's mad climate zealotry at great cost in many, many respects, the other issue he's going to have is welfare reform and the fact that we're now spending 330 billion pounds a year on welfare, which actually now is more than the total income from income tax that the government receives. There's going to be huge pressure, I mean, morally, I would say, but certainly fiscally, to reverse that and to start cutting the welfare bill. But Labour backbenchers aren't going to allow him to do it, are they?
That's right, because they'll lose votes. And remember, Labour's desperately bruised because of the total incompetence of Starmer. Remember, he didn't actually win the last election. He got 2/3 of the electorate voting against him. And of those eligible to vote, he got 20% of the poll.
Yeah.
But he got the landslide because of the weird electoral system. To that extent, there are four things he's got problems with. The welfare bill that you've just described. International policy, because Starmer's totally ruined our credibility with that. Thirdly, he's got the left-leaning politics of people like Ed Miliband. And fourthly, specifically, this climate nonsense. It's impossible to overstress how much damage this climate crap has done to our country.
He's also got the problem of Angela Rayner, who also, when it comes to such things as tenant rights, worker rights and so on, is also going to want to lurch left.
Except when they apply to her, of course.
Yeah. So just quickly, let me just read you what Sadiq Khan has said, because, of course, he wants to get in on the action, doesn't he? Keir Starmer has been a friend and colleague for over 3 decades, ever since our time as young lawyers. He is a man of great integrity. Really? Sorry, let me just read that again. Sorry. Sadiq Khan says, Keir Starmer is a man of great integrity.
It's an ironic, this can't be real.
But this is maybe a man with no integrity trying to pretend that there's a friend of his.
He's got as little integrity as Khan.
He's devoted much of his career to public service. Keir Starmer has made a huge contribution to the Labour Party and our country. Yeah, I think we'd all disagree with that, certainly the latter bit. I want to thank him, blah, blah, blah. Hang on, let me just whiz through some of this nonsense. He's brought National Rail Services to public ownership. Yeah, OK, this is the most boring tribute ever. Meaningful changes, blah, blah, blah. We still have half the parliamentary term left. Yes, we know that. Here we go. The local election results showed that people are impatient for the change that was promised. Wow. So what Sadiq Khan is saying here, that the Labour Party got absolutely eviscerated on May the 7th in the local elections because they weren't going far or fast enough. Wow. Sadiq Khan, do you really think that?
Ridiculous.
We still had, right, fine, let's just read this very quickly. So this should be the focus. It is also crucial that the new Labour leader invests in every part of the UK. This includes London, which is central to delivering, I mean, because his 10 billion quid budget isn't enough, Lembit. For the rest of the country, you must use the potential of our capital to boost the national economy. So basically, this is just a party political statement on behalf of the Sadiq Khan party to try and get more money for London.
No, it's deeper than that. Sadiq Khan, believe it or not, actually harboured hopes of being the leader of the Labour Party himself. Can you believe it?
God help us.
Now he's trying to suck up to Burnham, who's streets ahead of Khan's abilities. But Khan just is basically putting his hand up saying, oh, don't forget about me. I'm going to be your ally. And he's terrified of Reform UK.
Yeah, OK. Can we just play? I know we've got a guest waiting, but we're going to have one of those shows, I think, today where it's all a little bit kind of here and there. Can we just play the official clip that I think Jay from the In-Betweeners was involved in with regard to Keir Starmer's resignation last night?
Oi, it's Keir Starmer's gaff! Starmer wanker! Resign, wanker! Are you going to resign, wanker? Never mind bus wankers. Is this wanker going to resign today? Oi, oi, wanker! You going to resign? Move the fuck out of my way. Is the wanker coming out to resign this morning? He's just doing makeup, lad. He should be out shortly.
I have taken the difficult decision to resign today because I am fucking shit. Rishi was right during my election campaign, and you gullible fucks voted for me. No doubt you'll do the same when Andy positions himself as a candidate.
Brain wanker! None of you Labour sycophants are capable. Just wait, wanker, and see what happens at the next general election.
Well, that was a clip and a half. A bit fruity. You wouldn't get that on Good Morning Britain, would you?
Good morning, Britain.
Good morning, Britain. Yes, sorry. So I'm so
You're
excited
Clouseau
today, I
now.
can't get my words out properly.